dinner. Eating too many tacos, I know. Yeah, get that on camera. Well, it started out really well, but it didn't end as well as you would have hoped. As the end of the night, the Stars have their 3-game losing streak snapped in Los Angeles, a 3-2 loss to the Kings. We're going to break it all down. We're going to try to not yarf up any of the dinner that I destroyed in the second period, which probably led to some Stars malaise, but that's probably too much information. This is the DLS Dallas Stars postgame show. Sam's here, Craig's here, John's here, I'm here. Let's get it started. Oh, he had such a plan for a victory thumbnail, but it never came to fruition tonight. This is the DLLS Dallas Stars postgame show. We are live from the Lounge Studios here in our downtown headquarters alongside Sam Nessler, Craig Ludwig, and our producer, John Anderson. I'm Owen Newkirk. Thanks for joining us on this late night Stars After Dark. We've got another one on Friday, so get used to burning the candle at both ends as the Stars lose to the LA Kings tonight. Final score of 3-2. Sam, Luddy and I were talking throughout the game, as well as John, as we were all in the same room. But for you watching remotely, what were your initial feelings as this one came to a close? You got to unmute your sound there, Sam.
Try it now, Sam.
That was John, I think. I don't know. If it was my fault, apologies. But
he was pecking away at his keyboard earlier, so I had to mute it because it was going to blow out the speakers.
That'll do it.
Yeah, it felt like missed opportunities, right? It felt like even more of an extreme version of that Carolina game where they had full control, and it seemed like they just keep playing your game and don't change too much, and you have a really good chance to win. Also, look at this background. Huh? You want to complain about this? Yeah.
What were you doing with the other one? I mean, what a missed opportunity. That's 1,000 times better.
You couldn't take it anymore, could you? You just couldn't take the getting beaten up about the bedroom.
Christmas tree is usually not here, so that's an added bonus. But
Sam, this is your girlfriend's place, I assume, right?
Yeah, it's 1 a.m., so she is sleeping,
I can tell
so
you guys are a perfect match for each other because she also has nothing on the walls.
Be nice.
Like there's decoration, but the walls are bare.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But it just felt like a missed opportunity, right? It felt like all the Stars needed to do was not take their foot off the gas, and they probably had a good chance to push that lead or at least keep it 2-0 or 2-1. And it felt like they did the opposite. They took their foot off the gas a little bit, and credit LA, right? They came back and they did push. It wasn't all Dallas. This wasn't a collapse. I wouldn't call this, the Stars just came out flat and couldn't figure it out. I think LA did a good job pushing, but Dallas definitely did not push as hard as they could have in the second period to really push this game away.
Luddy, listen to this. I just saw this on Twitter from Tanner Janot after the game. They worked us in the first period. Nobody wants to be embarrassed on home ice in your own building. We came out with a different mindset in the second. We needed a better response. Good communication and forecheck. Good team win.
That sums it up right there. I mean, what were the shots at one time? 8-0, 7-0, then it was 9-2, and
it was 11-4 after one period.
Yeah. It's a team, that's got some character in their room. They got some guys that have been there, some holdovers from the Cup, and I'm sure Kopitar had something to say about that. And they're right. Even though it's a Monday night. Is it Monday or Tuesday?
No, it's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday?
Wednesday now.
Oh, Wednesday. What happened? Something happened on Monday. Was that the Sagan thing?
No, that was Utah.
Yeah.
Utah. That was like the Sagan thing was like 16 hours ago.
Sagan was this morning, and we did the show yesterday. I mean, it's a blur. Yeah, the Stars had a great start to this one as they jumped out. They got an early power play, and they scored a power play goal. And I tweeted this out, but I got to make sure I get my number right for the show. The Stars power play has now scored 6 times in their last 7 games. Now, it's not 6 of 7 games, but 6 times in their last 7. They've gone through some pretty deep troughs on the power play this year, but that was an important early goal for Wyatt Johnston.
Yeah, you know what was nice about that is Wyatt following things up. I think we're seeing the Wyatt from last year to where I think there's some guys that when they shoot the puck in a certain area of the ice, sometimes they expect it to go in, and it seems to me like Wyatt doesn't count on the puck going in. He makes sure that after he shoots the puck, he gravitates to the front of the net, and he finds he gets his own rebound or pucks that are laying around. So you can see he's changed a little bit. Maybe he hasn't changed, but he's kind of come back to the one guy that we knew last year that would play that, and he's shooting the puck a lot, and he's got that sneaky little pull and drag shot, and he's getting his opportunities now.
Sam, on that goal, the Johnston power play goal, I thought Jason Robertson made a really nice entry pass to set him up for the first shot, which was a really good chance. And I know that Robertson's shooting isn't there right now, not to the level that we're used to, but that kind of setup, that assist reminded me of how he got a little bit more pass focused last year, where his first couple years in the league, he was all shooting, and he became more of a balanced offensive player. I know he struggled this year, but that was encouraging.
Yeah, he's when Robo's at his best, he's a dual threat. Like we know he's a shooter, but like you said, he got a little too shot heavy at times and was burying shots into defenders instead of looking for the extra pass. And he found a way to be able to do both of those things, and that made that line that much better because it made all three of those guys became multiple different types of players. Right, they were able to kind of do whatever they could instead of just having to do exactly what they were best at. Tonight, that was a great pass. I mean, the vision to see that Wyatt is there, make it basically as kind of a no-look pass with his body facing the boards, puts it right on the tape and gives Wyatt a great chance. And as Lud said, that's the important thing. And a lot of young players struggle with stopping in front of the net, right? Wyatt could very easily be kind of drifting, shoot that first one and drift either to the right or left of the net, and that one never comes back out. But he sticks right there, finds the rebound and buries it. I think that was a big goal for Wyatt, a big pass for Robo, and a big goal for the power play.
A heck of a chance to double the lead is denied by the skinny part of the goalie stick. Sam Steele gets a wide open shot on a 2-on-1 with jamiebenn. Nice pass by the captain. Steele does exactly what he's supposed to do, which is release it quickly, elevate it, and it puts it on frame. And we watched a couple times, and we was trying to make sure it was on goal, and it hit the top of the goalie stick above the blocker, and that's a little lucky for Riddick. He also made the save, so nice play. And a little unlucky for Sam Steele.
Yeah, and the same thing happened to Ottinger late in the game, too.
Yep.
He had one go off the shaft of the stick, too. So, yeah, we were talking about that, and we're like, goalies don't try to make that save once it beats them in a certain spot, gets by them. They're not trying to throw the shaft of the stick out there, but they know it's there. And most times, it actually works out in their favor. Very rarely have we seen it does happen when it hits the shaft, drops down, and then goes behind them. So, but again, they're very aware of their surroundings, and they know what part of the net they got to cover up, and they throw everything over there that they can, and it pays off for Riddick on that one.
It took 10 minutes and 24 seconds for the LA Kings to get a shot on goal. It was Quentin Byfield from the high slot. Ottinger made his first save. He had to go more than half the period, Sam, without facing a puck on his net. Just to show you, it was one-way traffic. I said earlier, it was 11-4 shots at the end of the first period. Think about that. Over 10 minutes without a shot to start the game at home. You wonder why Tanner Jeannot said after the game that they were embarrassed in the first.
Yeah, it was. I think I tweeted it out. Sometimes you say these guys look like they're a step behind. I think LA was 2 or 3 steps behind Dallas in that first period, and I'm not sure if it was 80% Dallas flying and 20% LA struggling, or 50-50. I don't know where the balance was there, but they made them look really slow. And TNT did a really good job on their intermission talking about how just showing Dallas, just every time LA got the puck, whether it was in their own end, right when they got into the neutral zone, the gaps were just incredible. It was like LA got out of their end, Miro Heiskanen pushes up, they force him to dump it in or force him to get a turnover, and the Stars just reload and come right back at him. So that's where it felt like too. You get up 2-0. That's where you really like to see a 3-0 or extending a lead as well, and they were unable to do that. But I will give major credit to Riddick, and we're going to talk about it. Man, did he respond, and he was great the rest of the night.
Sam, like what I think that LA comes out and they know Dallas is getting closer and closer to their game, right? And coming into this game, they had only given up, I think it's 2 goals in 7 of their last 10 games. And so I think they were trying to not get caught out of position and don't let Dallas get these outnumbered rushes and things like that. And they play a little too passive to make sure that they're not on top of their game. And I think they respected Dallas too much in that first period. And then they have a little conversation and said, the hell with these guys, let's go at them. And that's what they eventually did.
Well, Mason Marchment was a beast tonight. I had him at the end of the night with 7 scoring chances. He scored a big goal about 3 minutes after LA had their first shot of the game, and he buried one from the slot. Stan Coven gets the assist at 13:40. And Luddy, not only is this a great shot against a screen goalie, but that point for Stan Coven is more important than some might realize, because coming into tonight, he had just 1 assist and 0 goals in his last 7 games.
But he was still playing the Stan Coven way, you know? And I think
Thank you.
Would we lose?
Did we lose a pen? And he got it before he could. I thought you were going to switch it to Luddy's screen so I could dive over and get it, but thank you, John.
But no, I think for Stan Coven, he's always going to put the
here.
work in. You guys want to recap the game, or you want to talk about pens here?
He wants to talk about pens.
Go ahead.
Actually, Sean's on the line. He has a thing with pens.
No, I think Logan has played the same way. The points don't always come for guys like that. And I think the most encouraging thing about him is he doesn't change his game. If the points don't come, he still continues to play the same way. And you're right. Like, it's hard work, and he's fortunate to get that, and he does the work along the wall. And I think on the goal, I mean, Marchment's goal, first off, he knocks it out of the air. The puck was kind of floating, and it knocks, and it comes down to him. There's another defender there. And then what he does, he uses that defenseman for a screen. He goes far side, high. The goaltender, Rick, doesn't have a chance on that one. He doesn't see it because he got a defenseman that's going down in front of him. So it was a great shot.
Marchment's 11th goal of the season, 1 back of the team lead in that category as Duchesne leads with 12. And Sam, it's amazing where he's come in the last couple of years, how much he's developed, because even at the beginning of this year, there were still signs of the guy that was maybe not totally stable on his skates all the time, maybe not just the skating, but just a little out of control, playing on the edge, taking a couple penalties he shouldn't because he's trying so hard, but sort of living on the wrong side of that line. Now he looks like he's in so much control, and he's just, the confidence is just oozing out of him right now.
Yeah, I almost wonder, like, I might ask him this when we get back, or when the team gets back there, and just say, hey, what did you focus on this summer? Because it almost seems like he took a step skill-wise as well. You're right, and he definitely took whether that was mental or physical after the first, maybe 5-10 games, he definitely took a step in that way, and he learned to not take as many chances. He learned to not be as out of control, because he was already on his way to besting his penalty minutes from last year, like within the first 5-10 games. So he definitely did a good job in that, and that was important for him. But he also looks like a more skilled player. Like, I think I said this in the pregame or whenever the heck we were talking. He makes these passes that I just didn't see from him in the first year or so with Dallas, or when he was in Florida, right? And that was really huge. And tonight, his shot, I mean, is there a more perfect shot than putting it from the circle over the shoulder, perfectly on that elbow and straight down? There's no chance for a goalie to make that save. That's the perfect shot. That's the kind of stuff where it's not just him, as Lutz was talking about. It's not just him slamming into the end wall and getting goals by jamming it in the crease, or maybe getting a one-timer here and there. He's really making a lot of skilled plays. And if you look at a lot of his goals and assists, they are highly skilled plays that you wouldn't necessarily expect from a guy who was claimed to be a fourth-line guy, basically coming out of Florida.
Sam, next time you get a chance to talk to him, I just want you to ask him, are you feeling it? That's it. Because I think he's going to look and go, yeah, I'm feeling it. Yeah. Confidence, whatever you want to use, but he's feeling it. And I think he's at this point right now where he feels that everything that he does is going to somehow turn out the right way. Not necessarily a goal, but even a pass that he may try to make to somebody that'll bounce off of another defender or somebody else and go on the right people's tape. So he just looks like, you said confidence, but to me, somebody needs to make him a shirt that says, I'm feeling it.
Well, he scored that gorgeous goal as part of the win over Winnipeg on Sunday at the AAC. And Monday night, we had Petey from our PHNX and ALLCITY partners on, and that ate into our pregame show. It was great. I had some clips that I was going to have of Harley and Ottinger talking about that goal. And one of the things that Ottinger said was, aside from calling him one of his best friends, was he's one of the hottest guys in the league right now. Yeah. And to hear that from your starting goalie, obviously he's trying to pump his tires a little bit, but there's some truth in that. He is one of the hottest players in the league right now.
I mean, it's the reason why we said he might have snuck onto that Team Canada, right? There's no way that if you say at the beginning of this year Mason Marchment will be on Team Canada, somebody
Not even close.
People agree, right? And that just shows you how hot he has to be and how much he has to be scoring and creating. And just every time he's on the ice, he seems like he's creating. And then obviously they get the goal against later on in the game, but that stuff's going to happen. That's part of the game. But for me, I think it's really that skill and that balance that you talked about, Owen, that he has really found that line right now. And I just keep riding it. Keep going, Mason, because you're going to need it without Tyler Seguin for the next 4 or 6 months.
2-0 Stars after the first. We'll talk about the second and third periods next here on the DLLS Dallas Stars postgame show.
Herman Marshall, Dallas County's first legal distillery since the repeal of Prohibition. Located in historic downtown Wiley, Texas is proud to partner with the Guns N' Hoses Foundation of North Texas on a single-barrel expression of its signature straight bourbon whiskey. The Guns N' Hoses Foundation is a non-profit organization dedicated to providing immediate financial assistance to the families of fallen police officers and firefighters lost in the line of duty. They're built from the grain up through family, fellowship, and friends. So for every bottle of single-barrel straight bourbon whiskey, Herman Marshall donates 15% of its revenue to the Guns N' Hoses Foundation of North Texas for those who went before. So stop into your closest goody-goody liquors and other fine retailers.
Let's talk about Game Time. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. So if you like going to sporting events, concerts, music, well, that's what a concert would be, theater shows, comedy, love the stand-up comedy. I'm a big fan of that as well. You need Game Time. Game Time Picks filters out all the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats. So you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. You get these great curated deals, saves time on all those shows. You get all-in pricing. You can toggle that feature to show the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. Seat views. You want to see what you're buying? Get that panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. Plus, you'll have the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. And they also have you covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code DLLS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code DLLS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Hey, guys, what time is it?
Game time.
That sounds like a Stars After Dark enthusiasm, doesn't it?
Well, from his end, I'm pretty excited right now.
Yeah,
this
you
is
are.
my time.
It is your time.
There are people sleeping, okay?
Oh, that's why you're being hushed. Hushed tones from Sam. Hey, before we get back to our game recap tonight, don't forget that we extended the $36 sale due to overwhelming demand. You basically have until the end of the show, I would say probably within the next hour, tops, here on the Stars After Dark. It's your second chance and final chance to join in. $36 to be a diehard for an entire year. This is it, the absolute last chance. You can join the diehard community. It's over 50% off your first year, plus you get a free t-shirt, promo code for a free t-shirt. That's a $34.99 value. So you're essentially buying a t-shirt and getting a free diehard subscription for a year, but it is almost going to disappear. So don't miss out on a great opportunity. We'll tell you a little bit more about that and give some diehard shout outs in our third ad break. But right now, second period, Tanner Jeannot said that they didn't like what they did and they came out swinging in the second period. Actually, they were better because they were getting absolutely trucked in the first. But it wasn't as though the Dallas was getting overwhelmed, Luds, because, it was trading a couple of chances, and then Jeannot scores on kind of a weird play in the slot where he took his first shot, missed the net, and it goes off the end boards, and he darts to the near post and pokes it in. His third of the year from Warren Fogle at .440. What was your take on how that played out in front of the Stars net?
Oh, boy, there's a lot here, and I'll keep it short for you. I think I think it was Fogle takes the puck behind the net, and Essa is kind of focused on Fogle behind the net. He gets a little spin around. It ultimately hits the side of the net, and it's one of those ricochets that goes right on Jeannot's tape. But what happens then is Essa loses him, and so that's why he gets the first chance, which ends up being a shot that goes off the back wall. and nice bounce. It comes right back to him. But the problem with that was when just before that shot happened, Thomas Harley's on the left side of Jake, and the guy that he's supposed to be with starts to go to Jake's right. Well, Harley follows him past the middle of the net. That's what allows Foegele, once that puck comes off, or I should say, once that puck comes off the wall, that's why he's wide open.
Be able to poke it at the post.
Yeah, because if Thomas would have just came back to the front of the net where he's the left side D, but he moves over to the right side of the net because that's where the guy that he's guarding ends up going to that side. If he just stays in front of the net, he's got to play on that shot. And, Jake gets a pad on it, but there was just enough of it to get past Jake.
Sam, after that, there was a run of chances from both, but Wyatt had the best one. He had a wrist shot on the rush, right circle, hit the right post. I thought he had Riddick beat. Obviously, the semantics discussion is if it didn't go in the net, you didn't beat the goalie. Either way, really good chance for Wyatt. He, as Letty was talking about earlier on the goal in the first period, looks like he's kind of rediscovered his shooting form, which is a really good sign for the Stars.
Yeah, shooting form and confidence, right? You can see it when Wyatt Johnston's going. I made a joke today because I think he became the fourth fastest player to reach 61 goals, I believe was the number, something like that. And I was like, this is what I remember. I remember in the playoffs, every single day, Wyatt Johnston would come up on my feed of public relations for the NHL with some record he broke or some list he made in franchise history or NHL history. That's when you know Wyatt's feeling it, when you start to get those again in your Twitter feed. But he looks confident, and with the post, I don't like to blame bad bounces, and I'm not saying the Stars lost this game because of bad bounces, but there have been a few of those unlucky type of bounces. That play, I don't know if Fogel's trying to throw that off the outside of the net on that goal Luds was just talking about, and then later we'll talk about another bad bounce. But there definitely were some things. The Stars make their own puck luck, or teams make your own puck luck, right? That's the saying. What Luds just talked about, all those things, maybe that makes the puck luck, but they definitely had a nice little bounce off that, and then the nice little bounce off the end boards to give that chance. So give credit to the Stars a little bit. It's, again, like I said, they weren't swimming in their own end or completely flailing, but they're just a couple little things went wrong, and LA just found a way to do it. But back to Wyatt Johnston, I think that we love that line from the start, right? We brought that line up from day one and said this could be really good. It's starting to look better and better, specifically Rope and Wyatt, and we're starting to see a trend upwards from Robertson. It's not there yet. It's not close yet for Robertson, but the trending upwards is big, and I think all three of them look a lot better than the last. Yeah,
Sam, that little blemish of that little turnover. I mean, he had 9 shot attempts tonight. Only a couple hit the net, but you can tell he's in that mode. He's feeling it from the standpoint of it's going to the net. And what I love about it is that American Wyatt Johnston right there on the screen is
that's from August. We need to move on.
Was that you again? Calling him an American?
Yeah, I screwed it up. I called myself on it. I paid my dues.
Well, you got to talk to the director over there.
It was.
That was
and
like
now,
the first day of our show or something.
We shouldn't continue to disrespect him by referring to him as an American.
So anyway, as I was, the good news about Wyatt being in this shooting mode is that the guys that he's playing with know that. Once he's in that certain area of the ice, that we're gravitating to the front of the net because he's shooting the puck now. And it kind of takes a little bit of indecision away. Are you waiting for a pass? Is he going to slide it here? He's a shooter right now. And so I think that's why there's more havoc and chaos going on around the front of the net. And, and they're going in there, and, Robo's going to get in there at some point. He's going to bang in a rebound, and it's going to pay off. And it already is for Wyatt. We've seen a different player in the last couple of weeks.
Well, the Kings tied it inside the last 5 minutes of the second period on a shot by Joel Edmondson that Letty and I wondered if it hit 3 different things before it hit the net, because it looked like Mason Marchment, Sam, may have taken a quick deflection with his stick as he tried to disrupt the shot from the point. Then it hit Miro's skate, then it hit Jake's pad, and then it went in the net. And that is, you talk about a little fortuitous bounce on the Jeannot goal, the Edmondson goal, noted goal scorer Joel Edmondson.
Yeah.
By the way, he has his 4th goal of the year, makes it 2-2 before the start of the third. That's huge just because of the fact that they don't have to go into the third period at home chasing the game.
Yeah. What do you have the time of that goal, Owen, right there?
15:38.
So it's very close to that last, where they call it the like fatal 8 or whatever they call it. When you 4 minutes left in the period or 3 minutes left in the period and the beginning of the next period. It's a huge momentum swing. It's just, that's the way it is, especially coming back from 2-0, the Kings would have a little bit of momentum going into that third period down 2-1, right? They looked better, they created chances, and they got a goal. But going into that period tied, all you got to say in that room is, hey, guys, we looked horrible in the first period. We have a chance to go win 20 minutes and win a game against one of the better teams in the NHL. That's a motivator right there. I'm sure Luds would agree. You probably heard that in the room plenty of times. That was a big goal, but you're talking about bounces, right? I know Marchment was pretty mad at himself for not getting a bigger piece of that as he rushed out to try to block it. It's almost like everyone was doing the right thing, right? Marchment was a little late to get out there, but he does try to get out there, gets a piece of it. Haskin is doing a great job boxing out to the right of or left of Oettinger. Ottinger's in a good position to make the save. If it doesn't go where it goes, all three things happen and the Kings get a goal. So that is a tough bounce for guys that were at least trying to do the right thing in their own end.
Well, then the start of the third period, first chance, Dodonov gets a shot blocked, picks it up again, hits the post from the slot. That's, I mean, I know ifs, ands, and buts. It almost goes in. And then just a short while later at 2:22, Foegele scores a wraparound goal that, again, the Stars kind of vacate that side. You were talking about Harley earlier. Was it Harley again?
Mm-hmm. Well, really, it started in the corner before he wraps it around. He just kind of shrugs Stankoven off. You know, he was kind of just give him a little push, get out of my way, kid. And you know, you got a bigger guy going against a smaller guy. He had the right position. So yeah, and then once it's a good play by Foegele. Sometimes you just got to give guys credit, get there quick enough, and be able to wrap that stick around and tuck it in.
You know, so what I'm interested in asking, sorry, I think I want to ask Sean this question. Maybe I'll text him because I don't know if he's back on a show for a little bit now. But Oettinger seems to get beat a lot on wide wraparounds to his far side. So Foegele does a great job not wrapping that. He almost scored again a few minutes later on the exact same play, right? But he instead of trying to just throw that, it's so easy to get a wraparound and think, I'm going to tuck this in. You're not going to tuck it in on a goalie in today's game. Their butterflies are too big. Their pads are too big. Their legs are too long. But Jake doesn't seem, for as tall as he is, you would think that he should be able to cover that whole bottom of the net, right? If a defender's coming around on a 6'6", 6'7" goalie, you'd think that that's going to hit his right pad. I've seen him get beat on that a few times. So I'm going to ask Sean about that and if that's something that is in his game because, like I said, I'm sure you're about to talk about it. It almost happened again.
So the Kings had a 3-2 lead. We'll talk about a few chances to hit the chat up next here on the DLLS Dallas Stars postgame show.
Talking about sleeper. And no, I'm not talking about us going to sleep right now, but I'm talking about the best fantasy platform out there. Put your puck knowledge to the test by picking whether your favorite, least favorite, or any player will have more or less than their projected stats each night or each week. For tomorrow, I have Mr. Jared Goff throwing 2 touchdown passes despite being in the cold in Green Bay. If you hit on that, you could take home 1.69 times your money. And just if you guys are keeping track, I've hit on almost every single one of these. Nathan McKinnon is the most recent, who led that comeback along with Scott Wedgwood and against Nashville. If you think you have what it takes, download the Sleeper app and use the code DLLS Stars to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today.
Let's talk about Saturday Neon. Started by 2 college friends / buddies. I mean, they could be friends and buddies. Saturday Neon makes officially licensed collegiate logo LED neon signs perfect for your home, office, dorm room, fan cave, or bar. Check out their new Essentials collection featuring almost 50 of the biggest schools across the country and counting for only $75. You can take a look at their Texas A&M, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State signs, tons of different SEC schools, Pac-10. Well, what was the Pac-10? I don't even know now. Unlike traditional neon, these LED signs won't break or shatter, but they will still give you that classic uniform glow that you know and love. They also have, because their LEDs last up to 100,000 hours, so you'll be enjoying your sign for years and years to come. Super easy to install using the provided hardware or with 3M command strips, which would be great for Sam because he doesn't have anything on the walls to begin with. Low voltage, that means they don't get hot, and they're always safe to touch. Head over to SaturdayNeon.com. Use the code DLLS for 10% off your favorite sign. All right, we're going to get into the chat here in just a second. So if you're up for Stars After Dark, we'll get to it. I just wanted to rattle off some of the chances late because the Stars, after giving up the goal early in the third period, really did elevate their game. And I had chances for the third period at 13-4 Dallas. LA got the goal. Dallas pushed hard. So it's not like they just, rolled over and took the loss. Nils Lundqvist had 3 chances in the third period. His third one was his best because he was absolutely wide open in the right circle. Unfortunately, he hit David Riddick right in the chest, right in the new revamped, older, retro LA, what do they call that? The Chevy logo, that sort of Chevrolet-looking design. Hit him right in the chest. You're never going to score through the chest of the goalie. Jamiebenn had a great redirection on a Sam Steele backhander in the slot. The tip by the captain gets past Riddick. He reaches back and sweeps it. It's not on the goal line, but it's maybe about a foot before going in. So that was really close. Mason Marchment had a great chance after Duchesne created a turnover, poked it to Marchment for a quick shot in the low slot. And then the one that probably hurts the most, Matt Duchesne drives the crease on the backhand on the power play with his 5-on-4 late in the game. There's an open net, and Mikey Anderson gets a stick in and pokes it, and it deflects up and over. If he doesn't get a stick on that, Luds, it's a goal. We're going to overtime.
Desperation. I think you saw the Kings as the game went on in the third period a little bit more desperate around the front of their goaltender.
So it was close, but again, chasing hockey is always going to be a tough one because every now and then you're going to run out of time. You're going to get a couple of unlucky bounces. The goalie makes a couple of good saves. Thought Riddick was really good, and in the end, the Stars lose the game 3-2. Their 3-game winning streak ends, but don't despair. They're 8-4 in their last 12 games, so they've been really good. But this does feel like one of those games. Yeah, that's right. This guy is falling. Sam, as we get ready to go to the chat, it just feels like this is one of those games against a good team, right? LA is second in the Pacific. They've played really good hockey. They've now won, I believe it's 9 of 12 at home, 9-2-1. So they're an exceptionally good home team. But this is one of those games they could have won.
Yeah, 100%. They'll be disappointed, but I think as we talked about on the postgame show in Carolina, it wasn't the end of the world. It wasn't a huge, collapse. It wasn't we need to make some serious changes. There's none of that in this game. This is a good hockey game. 2-goal leads in the NHL today are basically nothing. So it sucks. It sucks to lose when you get a lead. It sucks to lose when you dominate a first period. I wrote about it a little bit in my 3 Thoughts article, is how this game wasn't a team that was a little bit slow and kind of figured their game out. This was a team that was completely outmatched in the first period. And to be able to flip it like that, 1, tough for Dallas, 2, credit to LA.
All right, let's get to the chats tonight. Any super chats, or are we just going right to the...
We do have one super chat from T Farmer,
who's
very clearly been on the sauce tonight, by the way, just judging by the...
Did you see the second comment he made on the chat? Well, here's the super chat. We'll go that first. A little Lundqvist Ludwig from T Farmer. If we want to beat Vegas, we really need to focus on taking more body, especially with our puck luck on the road right now.
Hits were 31-8 tonight.
You see what they were at the first period?
Yeah, I didn't see it, but you told me 14-1. So, and again,
that was a great first period.
It was a good first period, but LA continues to play that physical style. LA's in the top 10 in the league as far as hits goes. Dallas, not so much. They're actually 31st, I think. But I just think that they believe in, if we continue to hit, we slow them down, we kind of work our way back into the game. They're, sometime, or the other side of the coin could be, well, the Stars had the puck all night and they didn't have an opportunity to finish a lot of checks. I think it's the first one, that LA's, a team that likes to hit, and they believe in wearing good players down and making it a little bit more difficult. So I agree with that, and I think there needs to be a little bit more pushback at times. But again, you're not going to change the spots on this Leopard because they're not a team that's going to go out and try to out hit teams. They're a team that's going to use their speed and their skill.
Well, Luds, quick follow-up on that. I think me and you were talking during the Utah game about how it's not always a bad thing when you get out-hit, right? It could mean you have the puck all night and the other team's chasing. However, when you are getting out-hit consistently by a large margin and it becomes noticeable in the game, that's when I feel like they might need to take a step. So, don't change your game. Don't become a team that tries to get 38 hits a game. But I think I agree with you. I think one notch up, maybe add a few more in there and be a little more physical, just so you're a little harder to play against, right? This team was so hard to play against defensively, and that's a good way to do it. Just ending a cycle like a Yanni Hakanpää is what I want to see maybe a few more times. Yeah,
and the thing that you end up being concerned with is if it continues like that is is other teams when they play Dallas are going to know, you hit these guys, and again, everybody would say it. I mean, you have skilled guys, they want to be able to be let off the hook, and they want open ice, and so you don't have to run them through the board, but just make it uncomfortable for them, and so they can't use that skill. And I think eventually, next thing you know, they're not making the easy plays that they want to make, because now they're looking, where's the next guy that's going to take a run at me?
I'm just looking
John,
at the.
Sorry, I was going to say,
Go
John,
ahead.
can you put up that last comment from Prime Crusader about Lyubushkin and Dumba?
1 second. Scrolling.
Yeah.
All the way at the bottom.
It's right at the bottom. Yeah. So that's a great question here, lads, or Owen, whoever wants
Go
to
ahead, read it, Sam.
Not necessarily Lyubushkin. Isn't the physicality why we got Lyubushkin and Dumba is the question from Prime Crusader. Lyubushkin maybe not as much, but wasn't the hitting from Dumba like the number one reason they picked up Dumba?
Yes, and I'm going to try to put myself in Matt's shoes for a second, and is he trying to be a little bit more reserved in that, not taking himself out of plays, not taking an opportunity that you end up going to the box and it's a hit that, I mean, sometimes we don't know how the referees are calling games, right? It's not like it used to be, and you can get away with a little bit more. So I just wonder if he's just trying to play that tight game mistake-free, which is not an easy way to play. I mean, if it's part of your identity and it's part of your calling card, then that's what you have to do. But right now, I think what in his mindset is, let's not make any mistakes. I want to, and I want to be in the lineup for the next game, because he's come out a couple times. So you can be a little gun shy, which is a conversation I would think that Elaine may have with him and say, listen, this is part of your identity. I mean, you step up and we want guys to know where you are. We want them to be concerned about that big hit at times. So, and then it would be a happy medium. He's got to pick the right place, the right time, and things like that. So as far as Lyubushkin goes, I don't know if he's that big bruiser. He plays a physical game. He hits you. He's not gonna be stepping up on players and running guys through like Dumba does. But I think he's more of a positionally proper kind of defenseman, seal guys out in front of the net, a puck mover, and be a little bit more difficult to play against the way he typically is. I've been really happy with Lyubushkin.
Yeah, I think I've been happier than expected.
Sure, good way to put it.
When I saw the signing, I don't know if I was all that joyous. Not down on it, but just again, that's not the first time a player that's played for the Maple Leafs and has gotten bagged by their fans comes to Dallas, Roman Polak, and performs better than that hype. Yeah. And so that maybe is an unfair measuring stick, is whatever the Leafs fans are angry about, because Lyubushkin has been not only really solid, but a really nice add to a team that lost a exceptionally good defensive defenseman in Chris Tanev, a huge penalty killer. And they had, of course, Yanni Hakanpää for much of the year. He was hurt for the end of the season in playoffs, but Hakanpää was part of that really good penalty kill as well. So to be able to have a guy step in and acclimate as quickly as he has is really impressive.
Yeah, Luds, didn't I ask you on Monday? I said, who's your biggest surprise, whether that's good or bad, through the first quarter of the season? And you said Lyubushkin, and you said pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, I would say now, if Lyubushkin was playing in Toronto now, the fans would like him, because there's a different coach there that is coaching a different way. When Sheldon Keefe was there as the coach, it was more an up and run and let's go, let's score goals and that kind of mentality. And you're playing now. There's more responsibility when you're seeing Matthews and Marner, and Marner's always been a good player in that way. But there's more attention to detail from the red line back to their zone than there used to be. And so I think Lyubushkin would fit in there nicely now with just a different coach with a different philosophy. And I think that it's probably taken Lyubushkin a little bit of time, the way, they're like they've talked early on. It's a little bit different of a system here, but he's in typically, unless, that the system comes into play once in a while, he's in the right place at the right time. He makes the first outlet pass. He doesn't run guys through the board, but he seals them off, and he stops their momentum for players. Again, a different player than Dumba. Dumba's kind of like that wild horse that can run at times, and sometimes he gets caught out of position when they don't want him out of position.
John, there's a couple of comments from Ardell in the chat that I want to highlight real quick about Jason Robertson. The first one is that he says Robertson looks unsure and in his own head. And then a couple of chats later, he follows it up with, we've got to get Robo out of his own head. I don't think it's physical. I think he started the year, it was a physical problem, but I think it's definitely crept into the mental side because it's been a struggle for him.
Yeah, he's not getting to areas that he wants to get to. And again, Robo's not a great skater, and he's playing with two rockets out there. Wyatt can skate and Hintz can skate, so he generally is going to be that guy coming into the zone third, and so he's got to find a way to do that. But I think what you're talking about is when he does come into the offensive zone, there's times where you want a little bit more pushback, and I think early on, when he got confronted, it seemed like he got pushed out of the battle. And there wasn't much of a battle, but he got pushed out. Now, again, I thought tonight he was getting a little bit more interior. There were more times I saw tonight that he's trying to get a little bit more interior. I think he's just got to start feeling it. But again, he's got Robo, these guys thrive on putting the puck in the net.
Oh, yeah.
He
lives
needs
to score goals.
Yeah, he needs for that to happen. But so he's got to kind of take Wyatt's approach right now. I think he's got to start directing everything to the net. And he's going to get that bounce, and he's going to get that goal, and then he's going to get a 2-goal game, and then maybe we're going to see a little bit more pushback and a little more. I can't say it here anymore, but you're going to see a little bit more give a meter.
Nicely done.
Yeah,
give a meter.
Sam, here's another comment on Robo. This was from Christian. Robo could do with the Rads treatment. Talk about Radulov. Sit a game out to get his mind off some things. See things from the press box and get him going again the next game, but it won't happen with the Segi injury. Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that. I understand.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I understand the idea of a mental reset, but Jason Robertson is a guy that's proven it at this level for multiple years. He set a new Dallas Stars single season record for points since the team moved to Texas. He's had multiple 40-goal seasons. He knows what he's doing. Radulov, there was more that was more off the ice issues. This is an on the ice issue, and I'm not saying that having a mental reset or sit out game isn't a cure for an on ice issue, but I think, like Lud says, sometimes you need one to go off your pants and in, or off the back of your leg or something, and then all of a sudden you get another one, and then you start hitting the net. I mean, Robo had a great chance the other night where he just missed beating Hellebuck on a shot that was from the left circle, went just past the right post. I thought he had him. It was close. That goes in. Maybe it's a completely different story.
Yeah, that's the balance that we talked about, right? And I think Luz was talking about it 17 months ago when we started this podcast. The balance of making
dragging on for you that bad, Sam.
the balance that you have to find with players in today's NHL. You can't just coach one way or just manage one way, but you also need to make sure that you're assertive enough, right? Just because I'm not saying Jason Robertson is going to take it. If he was scratched, he's going to take it the wrong way and hurt his confidence. I don't know personally how he handles that stuff well enough yet, but it could be, let's say that's the example. At some point, you still have to draw the line. Whether that player might hang his head a little bit because he gets scratched. If you're not performing, I'm not one to look at what he's done in the past. We've seen some other veterans or he's not a veteran, but other guys that have proven themselves that have gotten scratched when they're struggling, and it's worked. So I'm more in your camp, Owen. I think that he is more so in the area of maybe he needs to get taken off the first power play for a few games. Maybe that's the solution instead of sitting out a whole game. I don't know, but I agree. I think more so than needing a mental reset. I think he needs desperately just for something to go in. I don't know if putting him on the power play where he's going to get the puck on his stick a lot is the way to do it, because he's obviously not feeling it like Mason Marchment when he gets the puck on his stick. So maybe put him in a different spot and have him succeed with a couple guys that throw the puck to the net, and stop putting him in positions where he's has to think more and try to make really skilled plays.
I think there's even times you could take him for offensive zone faceoffs and say it's not the Hintz line out there. Maybe it's jamieben's line or something like that, and you, for the faceoff, you take him and throw him out there. Jamie's a good faceoff guy, and get him set up behind Jamie just so he can get a couple more shots on net. And Robo, if I win the draw, I want you shooting the puck. He wants you shooting the puck. And I think you just tell him, listen, You're taking 15, 20 seconds max, and you're going to get back to the bench, and then you're going out with your line. Maybe put him in some spots where, because again, he's probably a guy that really, we know. I mean, he needs confidence. He needs to feel that. And so if you're giving that to him versus taking him out of the lineup, I don't know his personality, but sometimes maybe that gets him going. And hey, they're giving me a chance. I got to score. And then, like we said, you're putting a puck in the net, and then you get him back out there, and maybe that's what sparks him.
One from Fusion Mix. I loved how good Stank looked with Dutchie and Mush. I feel like that line is going to click soon. You think?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think Stankoven only knows one way to play, and it's the right way to play. So it's more about him being able to, as I said in the pregame show that we did, he's got to change his mindset because the way that Matt Duchene plays. And there's going to be times Matt's going to drift over to the right side of the ice because he likes to pull up and make that pass on his forehand. So he's going to have to change lanes like what Sagan does. Sagan reads off of where, Duchene goes, and you have to find those areas. And again, there's time, but he's a good complement player for any line that he's going to play on, because you're going to get the work out of him, and he's going to get into forecheck. He's going to hang around the front of the net. He's going to get rebounds. He's going to shoot the puck. So he does almost everything right. I think sometimes when you played with more cerebral players, you kind of have to get onto their wavelength and kind of start reading off them. But he's got to get a dose of playing with those two guys.
Well, I love the chat tonight. One last one just to put a bow on it. GM Ben said, just wanted to let y'all know I made it home safe. So he made it home safely. And he brought you a present tonight.
I got it right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was here
Was Ben there?
unclogging the plumbing, Sam.
Oh, yeah.
You have to hear the story.
Yeah, sorry about that.
There was apparently some plumbing issues from his cleanup that led to one of the restrooms here having some flooding. And so he came with that.
He came with a 6-pack of Molson and went home with plumber's crack.
And he worked hard. But I think he helped clean up what the mess was before the plumbing crew gets here.
I got a feeling that's going to be a soundbite. Not a good one.
Just if you need it, if the plumbing's not working, there is a shower that works. I figured that one out on Monday. So if that was my fault, maybe that caused the plumbing issues. It's
all you, Sam.
I apologize.
Up next in the Stars post-game show here on DLLS, we are going to do our Herman Marshall marquee moment of the game. We'll look at an interesting Twitter poll that I think John might have or Sam might have put out today. One of you two.
Sam put it out on my orders.
Okay, perfect. So you guys combined. So assist and a goal. We'll touch that. We'll do our man of the match. All the wrap-up that we need here on the DLLS Dallas Stars post-game show. But first, highlight the demand. What is the demand? Look at this. We've extended the $36 sale due to overwhelming demand. It's your second chance to join, your last chance, because this is it. Tonight is the absolute last chance to get this deal.
Until tomorrow.
No. Not, they will not extend this tomorrow. I've been told this is it. So basically, we sign off. It might be done or by the morning at least. Join the Die Hard community at over 50% off for your first year. Experience the best we have to offer. You can, of course, see that we've already welcomed hundreds of new diehards this week. And how about all the diehards in the chats? Go to the website is alldls.com/36. You get a great deal. You get all the access to the entire DLS site, a free t-shirt promo that doesn't expire. You can choose the one you want or wait for one design that hasn't been there yet. And we'd love to say hello to, in the last 24 hours, the following new diehards. Boy, this is going to be a long one. You ready? Brian, Nicholas, Elizabeth, Darius, Scott, Robert, Jake, Jim, Carl, Greg, Robert, Caleb, Jacob, Ramona, Jorge, Adrian, David, Alyssa, Caleb, Todd, Corb, Michael, Kaylee, Ray, Matt, Adam, Juan, Keith, Jeff, Ray, Kyle, Conrad, Patricia, Greg, Christian, Thomas, Rudy, Calvin, Andrew, and Luke. Thank you all.
All of Owen's children.
That's right. Thank you for signing up to be a diehard, taking advantage of the special offer, and we hope you enjoy what you are receiving. Now it's time for our Herman Marshall marquee moment of the game. Pick up your favorite bottle at your closest goody-goody liquor store.
Well, for me, I can't move past Mason Marchment. I mean, another good game, the goal in particular, the shot and everything. So he just continues to roll along.
So The outro is for every bottle of single barrel straight bourbon whiskey, Herman Marshall donates 15% of its revenue to the Guns and Hoses Foundation of North Texas. For those who went before, stop into your closest goody liquor store to find your favorite bottle. It's a heck of a shot. He's playing really well. He had, I said before, 7 scoring chances tonight, couple of high dangers. You know, Sam, we were talking and rightly concerned, how's that line, Duchesne, Marchment, and without Tyler Seguin going to be? I don't think it was perfect tonight with Logan Stankoven, but I do think that those two guys are poised to still do well without Seguin. Doesn't mean they won't miss him, but I think over time, whether it's Stankoven, Dodonov, or anybody else that they decide to put on that line, I think they'll still be productive.
Lud said it perfectly in the pregame. Luds, don't let that get to your head. I know you were right. But Stankoven's a good fit with that line, right? We know that should work, right? But they're not trying to replace a normal amount of chemistry or even a good amount of chemistry. They are trying to replace the highest level of chemistry. That line is clicking on all levels. They play together like one fluid motion when they're together with Tyler Seguin, right? Tonight you saw a little bit of that chemistry in right there. I saw 2 plays where Duchesne had the puck. Mason Marchment was not open. Stankoven was open. Whether Stankoven was open in a spot that Duchesne didn't expect him to be, whether Duchesne just didn't see him, short jokes not intended, especially for myself, or whatever the reason is, Duchesne actually tried to pass it to Marchment instead, and it got picked off and went the other way. So those are little instances where maybe if that's Tyler Seguin, either Seguin, calls for it the right way, knows how to call for it, gets in the right spot where Duchesne gets it to him, whatever the reasoning is, I believe that stuff is going to start clicking. I really do. But as Lud said, they are trying to climb a mountain to get to the amount of chemistry that Seguin is. I think for us, for fans, we should lower our expectations a little bit. I don't think this line is just going to come out and start scoring 2 goals a game with Logan Stankoven, but I do believe they're going to continue to get better.
Yeah, I saw the same thing, Sam. There were a couple times where Matt gets over to that side where he likes to be, and he knows, and Tyler knows where he likes him to be, and the hole that he can hit at the proper time. And that's why I said earlier, Logan's just going to have to be able to control his legs a little bit to almost where's the pocket, because the one thing that Duchesne can do, he'll find you. And so, Marchment knows that now. He knows to go to this area here, there, because if I go there, somehow Matt Duchesne's going to find me, and that's what they had with both of those guys, with Marchment and Seguin. And so Logan's going to, he's just going to have to sometime, because like I said, he goes. And so now he's just going to have to control it a little bit. As he's coming up ice, he's going to have to kind of survey what's ahead of him if Duchesne gets out in front and find that little hole, because he'll find you.
You guys want to hear a little plumbing humor that made me chuckle while Sam was making that last point?
How did we get on plumbing?
Always.
Well, because we were talking about Ben making it home and what he had to do, our GM.
Oh.
Well, in the chat, Ardell wrote Stars After Dark, which was a premise for he's going to go funny. Sam clogged the commode and bailed to New Jersey.
Well, Sam kind of inferred that, didn't he?
It gets better. Prime Crusader. Commando Sam caused a plumbing issue?
There was a full conversation on Sam. I wasn't even involved in it. I saw it later on in the Discord all game long.
On the Discord? Oh, love it. T Farmer.
Tim Cato was also accused.
T Farmer, he should have decorated the bathroom before catching the flight. Ardell goes, lay off the whole grains, Sam. And then Sam said, I'm more of a pancake guy, because T Farmer had early said waffle stomp Sam for some reason. You guys are all over the place, but that made me laugh.
I don't know what's happening. It's
late night, Stars After Dark. It's okay to have a few chuckles. And I don't think Sam was the guy that caused the plumbing issue, but we appreciate him.
There was a story floated from Ben that it had to do with the garbage disposal, which, doth protest too much, Ben. Sounds like he's trying to divert attention from, him possibly being the culprit here.
John, also excellent word choices with floated.
Oh,
I think that's the real root of the issue here. That's the real toot of the issue, huh, Sam?
All right, so there's a couple little things to finish up because we do need to wrap it up. It is late. We have another game on Friday. Interesting Twitter poll that was put out today, and it had to do with the Tyler Seguin injury and the possibility of using LTIR, aka long-term injured reserve, to be able to open up salary cap overages, which would then facilitate the Stars adding pieces above the current salary cap. Well, do you have that Twitter poll, John?
No, I neglected to take a screenshot of it, so you'll have to describe it to the people.
Okay, well, then I'm going to have to dig it out real quick.
Well, I have it up in front of me. I can just read it.
Okay.
So Sam, by order of me, wrote, which Dallas Stars prospect / young player would you include in a trade if it meant a better chance of winning a Stanley Cup right now? And bad work by me, Sam, because Sam listed Liam Bichsel, Logan Stankoven, and Maverick Bourque. I should have instructed Sam to also say option 4, other player, reply below. That's fine. We'll work on that for next time, Sam.
You had to drive engagement, right?
Overwhelmingly, Maverick
None of the
Bourque.
above.
I think
Overwhelmingly who?
Maverick Bourque, 78.6%.
Of the votes, yeah.
Logan Stankoven only got 3.1, Liam Bichsel 18.3. A lot of replies, though, being like, how about no one? Like, I don't want Evgeny Malkin.
Yeah, but the reason I'm assuming that, they haven't seen Bichsel play yet, right? I mean, we haven't, forget preseason. We haven't seen what he does. They're seeing what Bourque does. And in Bourque's defense, there was a lot of hype coming in because I was kind of going, oh, okay. So we got another Logan coming.
He did win the AHL MVP
I don't
award.
care what they win. I'm just saying, give the kid a chance.
He had a good year in the AHL last year, a really good year.
Yeah, I think John and I did a whole thing on the American League MVPs and stuff like that.
Sure.
What did we find, John? One guy that played or something like that?
We found that it was mostly AHL lifers who would just go off for 1 year
and that's no fault to Bourque, right?
And those are tremendous players. He's just younger than that group usually.
Yeah, and he really, I mean, up till now through 20-some games or whatever he's played, he hasn't popped like Logan did. I mean, when we saw Logan last year, his first game, we're like, whoa.
He's ready.
Oh, yeah. Like, he's ready. So, and it's not fair to compare those guys, right?
In training camp a year ago, not this one, but the preseason from the 23-24 season, Logan wasn't ready. You could see it. While this kid's going to be good, he's not ready yet.
So what did they do with Logan then?
They played him for 60-something games in the AHL. Maverick played, so remember, Maverick's a year older, and he didn't have a great year 2 years ago, bet on himself, had a great year last year. It's just, it's a matter of time. Look, Rope Hintz, when he got called up, it didn't click right away. He had to go back down a couple of times. We saw, Jason Robertson spent time down. Jake Ottinger got sent back down. It's okay. It's okay that, I'm not saying Bourque should be sent down. I'm just saying it's okay that he's trying to figure it out. If you see long-term progress, the short-term bumps in the road is not going to be a big deal.
And he may have to play with different players for him to stand out, So they're going to work through it. He'll be fine, I'm sure. I mean, there's a track record around here with the scouts and management and everything. They're not wrong on a lot of players. So they know what they've seen and they have confidence in him and faith. And so hopefully he finds his way.
Two additions here real quick. There's 3.1% for Logan Stankoven. Whoever you are, if you're in the chat, please announce yourself and explain why you voted for Logan Stankoven, because I put that on there just to see if anybody would click it. So maybe it was an accidental hammer click. But personally, I'm curious.
I was going to say, Sam, personally, I would really like to try to bolster the team without any of those three being traded.
Agreed, and that's why my next question is. Obviously we'd like that, but Luds, I think we talked about it yesterday. If you have someone you bring in I don't know who it is, let's call it player blank, that could come in and make this team more ready to win a Stanley Cup right now. Do you agree? Are you still saying none of the above, or are you looking at the Bichsel or Maverick Bourque?
I'm not supposed to talk. I got the wave from the producer.
Well, we'll answer that question in just a second. If you're watching on the fast channels, this is where we say goodnight. Thank you for watching Stars post-game show where the Kings beat the Dallas Stars 3-2 tonight. If you're watching on YouTube, we will carry over with that question right now.
I thought the stream froze for a second. You guys all were, it's like an old person trying to set up a Zoom call.
We were all paying attention to you for once.
I was looking and I was like, oh no, my heart sank.
Now, if this was Sean, he'd be humming and hawing right now that he couldn't keep talking.
You interrupted. Let him talk. Hey, Sam, ask him the question again.
Yeah, Luds, I was just curious. There's a lot of none of the above or nothing or we need these guys, we need more time. But the point of the question is if they have a player that's out there that makes them a better team to win the Stanley Cup this season or let's say next season, do you agree that you wouldn't look at any of these three players, or do you have someone on there that you would be willing to depart with?
Okay, you're talking to a guy that wants to win a championship every year.
That's why I'm asking.
It's when your window is open, it stays open for a short period of time. It doesn't stay open for 6, 7, 8, 9 years. Those days are gone. So when your window's open, you got to do what you got to do to win a championship. Now, and that's not guaranteed. Yeah, a championship's not guaranteed. So I would make sure that I'm having conversations with more than one or two people about whoever you're talking about throwing into the mix here, and then make a decision based on all of that. But when you're getting up to the plate, I think that there's very few pieces that are not on the table. That's the way I feel.
Yeah, I agree.
Agreed.
There are a couple there. I would prefer not to trade away Liam Bishop, but if it turned out that they could, I mean, I don't know if you can guarantee it. If you could make a move and look back and say that was a piece that helped them win a Stanley Cup. It's the conversation we had yesterday with Sean about trading Jarome Iginla to bring in Joe Nieuwendyk, which turned out to work for both franchises. They won a Stanley Cup. There's no telling for sure, but I think it's safe to say Nieuwendyk was a pretty darn important part of that Stanley Cup.
For sure. I want to say we wouldn't have won the cup without that move, but there were other things all added up to that.
It wasn't just the Nieuwendyk move, but it was a very important one.
At the time, there was a GM very similar to here, and they know each other well. And Bob was piecing this together, not just that year. It was leading up. You could see what was happening with us, especially the guys that had played in Montreal, because all of a sudden, here comes a former Canadian, then here comes another Canadian, then here comes another guy from Montreal that kind of went through, maybe not that year, but went through that system because there was a belief that the way that we were kind of groomed in Montreal was kind of the way to play at that particular time in our era. And it paid off. And so, Jarome moves on and he has his chance and he's a Hall of Famer and everything else like that. I don't think he won a cup, but, he's still a great player, but
he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer.
Bloods. William W. Williams says, was one cup worth losing a franchise player?
Yeah, and I don't know if a franchise player guarantees you a cup. You know what I'm saying? Like Rick Nash was a franchise player. So, I mean, we could go down the line. And I think it's just who's driving the bus. And, if you want to take that swing and you're at the door and you're knocking on the door, I can tell you, Mr. Hicks had called the general manager and said at the time, what's going to get us past Detroit? And the answer was Brett Hull. And he goes, go get him. Now, it wasn't
different time.
There was no salary, the salary cap, all that kind of stuff. It was go get him. Is that being said now? I don't know. Probably not. There has to be more thinking that goes into it, and the bean counters have to do all their thing. But owners want championships.
The answer is yes. It was worth it, and that's no slight on Jarome Iginla, who is.
And we can talk about it because it worked out. And the guy that he says go get him, and it's worth it, scores the goal.
And that's Brett Hull scores in Game 6.
Yeah.
I'll give you a correlation with football. The LA Rams a couple of years ago traded Jared Goff, their number one first round pick, to Detroit for Matthew Stafford. It was a huge move. They really bet the farm, and they won a Super Bowl, and it paid off. Jared Goff has been really good with the Lions. They have this big resurgence now. Lions one of the best teams in football. The Rams have that Super Bowl. That's it. You won. It was worth it. They may not win another Super Bowl in the next decade or two. Who knows? But they won one, and it's worth it. A championship.
Yeah.
That's why you show up, right? Yep. And it's okay to admit it. I've heard some coaches say this in soccer too, Luds, so don't hate this, of saying it's okay to say we're here to win a title, not just we're here to do well and make the playoffs. We're here to win a title. It's okay to talk like that.
And even the players that are in the room, and it could be a friend of yours that is getting traded for a certain player to come in, they appreciate it because they know they feel, or we feel, the players feel that, you know what, those guys upstairs are doing everything they possibly can to give us an opportunity to win. You know, good friend that has to leave or whatever it may be. I felt bad for Charles. I mean, I think it happened to Charles a couple times, and Billy Hewitt, somebody like that. Like, they're here, and 2 years later, there's a championship, and they sat there and they fight for, you know, for their teammates every single game, and then they get moved down the road and they just miss it because of that. But I guess it's part of doing business.
Well, think about all the great players in the history of the NHL who have retired. John, get your bell ready, without winning a Stanley Cup. What do you think it means to Matt Duchene to have an opportunity to win a Stanley Cup? What do you think about Jamie Benn, who literally was in the bubble final and could, you know, we saw that shot of him sitting alone in the dressing room in Edmonton after getting bounced by the Tampa Bay Lightning in 6 games. What do you think it would have meant to Joe Pavelski? What would he have given to hoist a cup before he retired? Like that. Tyler Seguin says, you know, his rookie year, he wins a cup with Boston. There you go, John. I gave you a little love tonight. 2011. He said, I was too young to really appreciate it. He goes, it was fun, but we were in the, you know, they went back to a final a couple years later. Here they are thinking that this is Boston. We do it every year. Well, he hasn't won one since 2011. It's now 2024, 25. And he has said, I think he told me 2 or 3 years ago, how much more he would appreciate it the second time. We have a 2-timer right here. Mm-hmm. What did that second one mean compared to the first one, just because you knew how hard it was to get back?
Yeah, and I don't know if it was yesterday or today we talked about this, is that Tyler and I were when I looked at how long it was in between Tyler's first one and when he had an opportunity to win another one, it just happened to be the same years. And I'm going back a year or so. And I'm like, man, it's been 13 years when I thought of that, because you get to your 10th year, your 11th year, your 12th year, you know, in between I'm talking about. And that was my 17th year or whatever it was, but it was 13 years in between. You don't think you're not going to get that chance to win it. And the year that we won it here was different than the year that we won it in Montreal. I didn't think we were the best team in the NHL when we won it in Montreal. We had a great goaltender. You know, we had Patrick Waugh.
But when you won it, did you think you might have another one or another chance for one at that point in the, what was it, 87?
That was in 85.
Oh, 85, okay.
Yeah, it was 85. I was too young to, you know, I was like my third year.
But would you have thought, I'll probably get back to another final? Well, when you
play in Montreal, you think you're going to win it every year.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. Right. And then, but when
Boston
you move
was the
down,
same way for Seguin.
But then all of a sudden it gets further and further. You know, the lights in the rearview mirror you can barely see anymore, and you think that they're over with. And then you get there, and you know, so that's why I think for Tyler, like it kind of what you described. I didn't know how important it was. Well, I'll be honest with you. I knew how important it was to the fans in Montreal when it was the parade. And I saw I think there was 1.5 million people on the street. And there was no security, there's no barriers, there's nothing.
Then, I mean, if it hadn't already, when you're in that parade and you see all those people in Montreal, did you go, oh wow, it really is a big deal, or had you already known that?
No, that's when I realized how important it was to them. I mean, and if I drove down St. Catherine Street from where we started to where the Forum is, I can get there in 15 minutes. It took us 7 hours. And there were 2 guys per car in a convertible car. And but the people were on top of your car, and there were people coming out of the bar. I was in a car with Rick Green. I had 17 bottles of Dom Perignon on the floorboards in the car that we were in by the time we got back to the Forum. Good grief. And and the cars were trashed. Every car was trashed. Not because they were vandalized. It was because they were just all there. You know how it is. And then you had to go into the Forum for the presentation, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, that's when it kind of hit me how important it was to the fans. Just the fan, not the people in the suits. That's a different story. That were in Montreal dressed up in the stands. So anyway, and then you go, like I said, then you go for a long time and you don't. And then for me, I retired, and honestly, I got a call to come back the next year.
In 2000?
Yes. I got a call to come back, and that's the year that, Jersey beat them here. And I was coaching our minor league team, and it's funny, I don't even want to go there. I don't want to go
memories.
There. Yeah.
So, emotions are dug back up. But the point is that it absolutely is so crucial to then you do what you need to do if you can win. it's worth it. And isn't it great that your team is in a position for you to consider to take those risks, those shots, whether it's a trade or a free agent signing, you're adding this guy, you're doing that, you have a chance. The Stars are in this era right now where they are contenders. They're a really good team. Yes, we're going to have those ups and downs, but boy, it's so much better to be in this conversation of you have a legit chance to contend and maybe win a Stanley Cup this year. That doesn't happen all the time. A lot of times it's, do you make a trade to just make sure you get in?
Or do you sign Jaromir Jagr so that you're at the floor cap when you go in bankruptcy? That wasn't too long ago. Let's remember that. So it's a good thing to be looking at these options. And the only reason I brought that up and asked Luds is prospects and young players aren't guaranteed that they're going to pay out. Cup windows aren't guaranteed. It could be over in the blink of an eye. So that's why I wanted to ask Luds that question, because I completely agree. You need to go 100% for a championship when you have the shot for it.
Well, I think that we've gone way past our time. We're into the 1 a.m. hour, but I do want to give you an opportunity.
It's 2 where Sam is.
It is. Yeah, it is. It's 2. Hi,
snowing
Sam.
Also. It's also snowing.
That's why he's whispering.
Letty, Sam, let's do the man of the match real quick, and then we'll wrap this one tonight. So, Sam, you start in snowy New Jersey, which puts a nice little white coating to cover up the usual accoutrements in New Jersey. I'm kidding. It's a lovely state.
I'm going to go with David Rittich. I think he made a few huge saves when Dallas really could have, because the Stars had a few chances to really either put this game further, take another lead, or make it tied and probably have a lot of momentum going forward. I think Rittich stood very tall, so I give it to Rittich.
Luds, man of the match?
Sentimental? I'm going with Nils. Going with Nils. I thought this was one of his best games. Not perfect, and he's not Adam Fox, so he's not going to score those goals that you talk about when he gets right there and drills into somebody's chest, but he had 11 shots directed at the net. He had 6 shots on net. I thought he made the right plays tonight. I think he's making steps in progress. I think he's, for a young kid that went through everything that we talked about
twice, 2 straight years.
Yeah, and I think he's doing everything that they've asked. So I like Nils tonight.
I'm torn. Obviously, Marchment and Johnston were very good for the Stars. They both had chances. They both scored. But I'm torn between Tanner Jeannot and Warren Foegele. They both had a goal. They both had an assist. Now, Foegele scored the game winner, so that kind of tips me a bit in that scale. I kind of think I want to give it to Foegele.
Actually, I should be saying Ben.
Brought you Molson.
Yeah, I'm changing it. Ben's the man of the match for me.
There you go. All right, well, that's going to wrap things up tonight as the Stars lose to the LA Kings 3-2. They'll play the Vegas Golden Knights on Friday night. It's another Stars After Dark, 9 o'clock game. We'll start our pregame show at 8:30. We do not have a show tomorrow. Tomorrow is our day off because we have a Sunday show, Stars at home against the Calgary Flames. We'll get to that. We'll talk about Vegas in our pregame show. Vegas was in Anaheim tonight, so both teams will be flying from Southern California to Nevada. It's not a very long trip, and we will have that pregame show for you. Friday night, 8:30, pregame show, 9 o'clock puck drop, Stars and Golden Knights. Should be a lot of fun. If you guys want to, you can go to a FC Dallas new head coach introductory press conference with me tomorrow morning, or we can just reconvene on Friday night.
Let's do that.
I think we know the answer. For our producer, John Anderson, for Sam Nestler in snowy New Jersey, and for Craig Ludwig, I'm Owen Newkirk. Thanks so much for joining us and staying up late tonight. We'll see you on Friday for Stars and Vegas Golden Knights. Until then, so long, everyone.
Get it ready, boys.
We all silly like the mayor.